they're completely aware that we're here, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, they're staying longer now. I don't know if it's with the time of day or if they're just doing their something or what.
Both.
Both?
Yeah. They kind of understand that any human that's here is cool. Uh, some of the ones that nest in like the hedges do it because the human activity discourages the predators.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. At the racket club last summer, they had to close 2 courts because black chins had nested in the chain link fence between the courts. And, well, outdoor sports don't get a lot of action here in the summer, so it wasn't like a big hardship. But it is a federal law against moving or destroying a hummingbird nest. I have our landscapers, they keep the Migratory Bird Act on their phones so they can show people that tell them, you gotta go trim that, and you gotta go, prune that tree. And they'll say, federal law says I can't. There's hummingbird nests there. Probably right now, I would guess 30, but this is like the second shift of 30 that's been by so far tonight. One thing that's fun is a lot of times I'll see females ducking behind the bricks facade because there are a lot of spiders back there. Yeah. I call it my Black Widow Ranch. The last thing they do is wrap the nest with spider webs. Call it hummingbird zen, and we'll be just sitting here talking and chatting, and then the hummingbirds will take over and draw everybody into their own experience right in front of them. when they're at a hand feeder with their back turned to you because they're more concerned about the other birds than they are you, that's an astonishing level of trust.
I know at first they're like every second they're checking out with one eye or the other eye, and then all of a sudden they give you their back.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a labor organizer, but he's also a wildlife photographer. And he likes to drive out and come here to take photos. Because this is like the only place he knows where they just are so unconcerned by humans.
Right. Like the Galapagos.
Yeah.
The Galapagos hummingbirds.
If you want to see that, go to Yucatan. That is amazing with hummingbirds. And Colombia and Venezuela and Costa Rica, it's amazing. They not only have a favorite feeder to use, they have a favorite spot on the favorite feeder.
Wow.
They're like regulars at a bar that have their own stool. Sometimes, first thing in the morning, when the sun's coming up, if they're hovering backed by the sun, I get flashes of the rainbow prism through their wings. I have some friends who just recently moved back to Vancouver because they didn't like how this election turned out. And they had already established residency there before, so they're doing all right. I've got my 3-inch bodyguards between me and the rest of the world.
Yeah. Just to focus on the good stuff. Perfectly designed body.
The guys who are designing drones really study these guys.
I bet they do.
They don't so much flap their wings as they make a figure 8 sculling motion, which gives them lift on both strokes.
Yeah, it almost looks like they have 4 wings. And you can see it more now at like this amount of light. So it's probably like a baby shower. Think that they migrate.
Yeah. When I see the broadtails, I know that they're probably going to be going up to Saskatchewan and Alberta for the summer. I get a lot of the migrating birds that stop here because we've got a desert to the south and a desert to the north.
Right.
And the rufous hummingbirds, they come from Oaxaca and Chiapas at the extreme south of Mexico and fly to Alaska. And the calliope hummingbirds, I love seeing them every year during the migration. They're tiny. They're a little bit bigger than a bumblebee. And they go from Yucatan to British Columbia. They are shy and elusive. In 8 years, I've only gotten one decent photograph because as soon as they realize they've been seen, they take off.
I grew up in Minnesota and we had the ruby throaters.
Yeah. Ruby throats are jerks. They don't allow any other species around.
Really?
They have a special place in Venezuela. And then their special range in North America.
Well, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's getting along that time. Yeah, they love those things. Yeah, I'm never really ready for it to end. They're getting the last little sips in. Ah, there's Hotspur. Perched right on the end of my finger.
Oh, that's the one that comes in Thursday?
Yeah. And I can absolutely tell them apart. I see them as individuals because they have very strong personalities and they have different ways of flying and behaving. Some of them are even left-handed. Mostly they'll veer off to the right, but there's some that do it too.
Really?
Yeah. Or is there one that hangs out to the end all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more.
They're like, they don't want to get either.
They're probably olive tree residents. They don't have very far to go, and there's some artificial light for them to navigate with.
It's pretty dark here now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only a few more minutes.
Let's see, this has been so amazing.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much
This is awesome.
for sharing your little wonder with us.
It's amazing.
Oh,
When I see somebody that has one visit a hand feeder for the first time, it takes me right back to the first time it happened for me.